Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name's Maggie. This is take 3, so I'm not doing the take 4, so this has got to work. Today I'm gonna go ahead and take you around my plant care routine. I've been wanting to do one of these, but I always slack and don't ever take out the camera. I feel like I'm faster if I don't have a camera in front of me, although I'm actually really slow. But today I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys plants that are struggling, plants that are thriving, and just how I water and what do I do on plant care day. Usually that's like once a week, but because it is summer, I water some of my plants twice a week. The biggest thing that I want to talk about today that I use when I water my plants is SUPERthrive. So it looks like this. I've been using it for quite some time, and yeah, I just like it. So all I do is I fill up my watering can that I have right here. It's cute and it's gold. I actually picked it up at Target, and then I just do like 2 drops of this or so, and that's pretty much it. And it smells okay. It's not the worst smell, but yeah, and I just water my plants like that. And since I've started using that, I just feel like my plants have started growing. I know right now is the growing season anyways, but I highly recommend you guys try this out. Also, when it came to rooting my elbow, Monstera, I also use that as well. So yeah, I will have a link for it in my description, so if you guys want to check it out and try it for yourself, do that. It's less than like $10, which is great. Another thing that I also use when I water my plants once a week at least is the Orchid Spray, and I use that mainly on my Hoyas. However, of course, I don't have it to show you guys, but today I have to go to a local nursery to pick up some traps for Japanese beetles because they're eating our Virginia creepers. So I'm gonna pick that Orchid Spray up then, and usually I just spray my Hoyas to help them bloom and grow, and I find that very helpful as well. Alright, I'm sweating because it's 82 in our house. Alright, let's get started with my plant care. So up until recently, we had a osmosis filter in our kitchen, but then it broke, so I am going to be using just tap water. Otherwise, I would be using filtered water. So this is all I do. I make sure that the water is at like not too hot, not too cold, just right, you know? And then I just fill it up. And then when it comes to this SUPERthrive, I try to add like 2 drops or so. Sometimes it ends up being more, sometimes it ends up being less. It honestly doesn't matter. I'm not a person that likes to measure. And yeah, that's 2 drops right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and water just like that. So all I do is I bring my plants down off their shelves, wherever they are in the kitchen or throughout the house, and I bring them down one by one. I know some people like to just water their plants like that. As long as you have something that holds the water and won't let the water seep through to your like countertops or your shelves, it's completely fine. But I like to bring them down, and I like to look through the foliage where pests would like to lie. So particularly where they can hide between the petioles and the stems, behind the leaves, towards the top of the soil line is just where I like to look for pests. The other day I was actually taking a picture for Instagram and didn't realize until I'm like, hey, what's that little fuzzy thing? And it was the plant behind that plant that had mealybugs, and yeah, I kind of freaked out. But that's the thing, even though I checked on that plant, which was my black leaf Hoya Variegata, like a couple days before that I checked on it. I was watering all my plants, it had nothing. So you just never know. It's better to take precautions and be safe. So yeah, that's all I do, look through the leaves. Obviously right now I'm not looking through them as I would other days because I'm doing a video, but I just look very thoroughly, and then I just water, just like that. And as you guys can see, the excess water is coming out the bottom. And because of my soil, it is a very airy soil, which is great for winter, but it's a pain in the butt for the warmer months because I have to water my plants, depending the size of the pot, I have to water them like twice a week. So something I also like to do besides just watering like I showed you, putting it in some kind of cash bowl or some kind of dish and adding additional water and just putting in the water like that once again and letting it soak up and absorb more into the roots and the perlite and just letting it retain more moisture so it's moist for additional days than just like 2 days. That kind of helps me without having to water it as often as otherwise. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the next plant. Alright, so this is my next plant. This right here is actually a Hoya Variegata, but it's reverted. So it reverted, as you guys could tell, it's supposed to be like this, and then the leaves kind of started reverting. However, since I got it in my care, it's putting out a cute little leaf, and look at that variegation. It looks so cute. I mean, obviously it's not a perfect heart, but that's okay, no big deal. Once again, all I'm going to do is put it back in its decor pots and pour some water. And then I usually leave these on my countertop for a couple minutes to maybe 20 minutes whenever I get around to it. And then if there's any excess water in the actual decor pots, I'm gonna go ahead and spill it out. And just like that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys what I do with my bigger plants. You ready? So this right here is one of my many beautiful philodendron micans. Absolutely love this philodendron. It's probably one of my favorite philodendrons. It's just trailing, it's velvety, the texture of it is beautiful. But because this plant is so much bigger than the majority of my other plants, I end up taking it into the bathroom. In addition to watering my plants and using SUPERthrive and Orchid Spray, I also like to use some soap. So when it comes to some of the plants that I do not like to put underneath the shower because they're a little bit more delicate, or if it comes to my Hoyas, I like to use a little bowl of warm water just like that. Obviously you don't want the water to be super hot. And I use this Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap. This could be also found on Amazon. I'll make sure to link it in my description. And I just basically add in a drop or two, depending on the size of the bowl that I'm using. And then I take a paper towel and I split it in about 3 to 4 sections. The reason being is I don't want to use like a microfiber cloth, something that I would have to reuse on the different types of plants, because I don't want to spread anything that one plant might have. So I just like using these, ripping them in smaller sections, and then just tossing it out after I use it on the plant. So right over here I have my Hoya ring sand. As you guys could see, it's absolutely beautiful. And all I would do is I would soak my paper towel in the peppermint water, just like that. And then I would just go through each of the leaves and then wipe the top and the bottom. And that just helps taking off any type of residue, dirt, dog hair, debris, anything that's on top or the back of the leaves. And just also helps with pest prevention. I also want to show you guys that this Hoya right here has a few peduncles. Alright, so you guys can see that a little bit better. Right there we have a beautiful peduncle, and 2 new peduncles just popped up. and I see that this peduncle right here is actually doing something. So it is active and it continues to get bigger. I'm sure it's gonna be another week or two before I see anything happening. But it would be great to actually see a bloom on this Hoya. It has new leaves coming in too, which they're super cute. Just check that out. I love the little leaves. And it seems like every time I get a new leaf on this Hoya, the leaves just end up bigger and bigger. It's beautiful. Alright, so in addition to not only just showing you the plants that are thriving, although it seems like most of us want to only showcase those plants, I want to also show you some plants that aren't doing that hot, or I mean, they're not doing the worst, but they're just, you know, going through a little bit of change in their life, just like some of us are. But this right here is my Hoya Kalimantan. I'm sure I'm butchering the name. It's absolutely beautiful. But there's a leaf right here, which is a older leaf. And when I got this Hoya, it actually came with some spots. But this one right here just does not look pleasant. So all I'm going to do is chop this leaf back. As you can see, I just don't want anything to potentially spread. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and take my handy dandy scissors and make sure I cut the correct leaf. The last thing I want to do is cut the incorrect leaf. Alright, this is gonna be hard to do on camera. Alright, dum dum dum. It's literally like one of the most original leaves along with this one right here. Alright, okay, this looks probably so bad because I'm really not trying to cut the wrong one. Boom! It's gone! And here it is. Looks like that. That looks like a little bit concerning for me. I'm sure there's people that would just let it be, but I decided it was time for it to go. So, bye! Alright, in addition to one of my Hoyas that's not doing good, I want to share with you guys a leafy green that was doing so great until I decided to repot it. So this right here is my beautiful Hoya Monstera Peru. I love this plant. When I got it, it was tiny. You could actually go back to some of my videos and I unboxed this from Etsy, but that seller no longer sells plants. So it was quite small, but it ended up being root bound. Oh wow, it's actually pushing out new roots again from the bottom. So just like this right now, it's pushing out a couple roots from the bottom. You guys could see right there. It was pushing out a lot of new roots from the bottom, and I made the mistake by repotting it. I probably shouldn't have. These Monstera Perus are absolutely beautiful, but they're also kind of finicky. They don't like too much water, they don't like to be dry, they don't like to be repotted apparently, and they don't like a lot of light. So then after I repotted it in the same pot. So it's not like I went up a size or anything. I repotted in the same pot, but I disturbed the roots a little bit too much. So from now on, I'm just gonna let the plant do its thing. And if it's pushing out growth, roots from the bottom, I'm just gonna let it be. Maybe I'll clip a few or something like that, but I will not be repotting my finicky plants like this Monstera Peru again. And the reason why I'm saying that it's kind of struggling is that the leaves, as you could see, they're still beautiful, but they have like a yellow hue to them. So instead of just being like completely green like this, they started yellowing. And they're still intact, and I mean, it's not something I would go ahead and cut off at this time like I just did with the Hoya, but I am just keeping an eye on it. Also, another thing I've noticed that I want to point out to you guys, and so you guys could kind of take this with a grain of salt or whatever as advice, but if your plant is like thriving somewhere, do not move it. So this plant right here also used to be right behind where the camera is, and it was doing completely fine, great, and then I repotted it and put it into a different location. Two big no-nos. Just because you see a couple roots doesn't mean it's time to repot. And if it's thriving, do not move it. Alright, so I think that is it. I water my plants. I let them soak up additional water depending the season. I take them underneath the shower. Any plants that are bigger, I use a peppermint soap to deter pests and just clean up any debris and dirt off my leaves. I use SUPERthrive in my water. I dust my leaves. And that's pretty much it. I also make sure I dust my shelves. So majority of my plants, as you guys seen previously, are on the wall. So I make sure when I take all my pots down completely, I wipe down the surface. So once again, there's no debris, because like spider mites love to get in anywhere where there's a dirt or it's dry and it's dirty. So you just don't want any debris or soil just on your surfaces. But that is about it. I'm about to go ahead now, clean up some more of these plants, and then I have to, like I said previously, I have to go to a local nursery and pick up some orchid spray because I need to spray down my Hoyas. But before I do that, I showed you guys my Hoya ring sing that has a peduncle. I also want to show you guys 3 more Hoyas that have peduncles. Let me go get them. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I have 4 peduncles on 4 different types of Hoyas, but I only brought 2 down because I don't know where I seen the other one. I'm pretty sure there's another one somewhere. But this right here is my green Hoya croniana, and I've shown you guys this actually in one of my Hoya collective videos. But look at this, it has the biggest peduncle. It is so long. It hasn't done much in a few days, but the fact that it has a peduncle means it's happy, so I'm very excited about that. And then I have this Hoya Mathilde that I got back in the winter. It was a tiny little thing, and it has a peduncle as well, right there. It is super duper tiny. But I mean, hey, once again, it's there. I'll take it. Obviously, I love my leaves, but the fact that my Hoyas are throwing out peduncles means that the orchid spray that I'm using is working. It also means that the grow lights that I have are enough for them, so which is great. But I'm super duper hot, if you guys can't tell. So I'm gonna go ahead now and finish up and go pick up some orchid spray and some traps for Japanese beetles, because those suckers are so bad for our Virginia creepers outside in their garden. But until next video, have a great day, have a great week. If you guys are back to work, have a great work week. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys!